Hello, this is Andrea St. Amand. Today we're going to talk about getting out of your head and what that even means and why you should do it in the first place. So why get out of our heads? Most of the time we get stuck in our head. It means we're running around like a hamster on a wheel, and we get so wound up with one pattern of thoughts that we can't even see what the problem is anymore, or we know what the problem is. We certainly can't see a solution. We're really all tangled up and we can't see straight. And that like leads to us being even tangled up in not just the problem of the situation, but also in our own identities. So that's when we need to step outside of our heads and ask for help. So doing a little deeper dive on that, I'm going to tell you a story about the jail. There's an old city jail here in Charleston. It's haunted. It's the most haunted building in America, one of those great old buildings. So I worked as a guide in that jail for a good long time, mainly because I wanted a big classroom to work in with spiritual energy and emotional energy. There's a lot of past energy in that space. And so I was giving a tour one night. I was upstairs on the top floor, and all of a sudden I felt this like pressure on my head, and I'm literally talking, and I just felt like I wanted to sit down in this old, dirty, nasty jail. And I didn't know what was going on, but as I was falling asleep that night, I had an image of what had happened to me. And if that ever happens to you guys, where an experience will happen, but the image of it or the answer comes to you later, that's kind of common. So as I was falling asleep, I could see this old inmate literally jumping up and down on my head, like using me as a pogo stick. And I was so incensed. I was like violated after the fact that the spirit had been in my space. And much later, at that point, I was working with a psychic teacher, but I hadn't yet started working with my mediumship teacher. So I was able to share that with my mediumship teacher later and say, what was that all about? What was that? And she said, he was probably giving you a message to get out of your head. And I thought, like, that's so weird, because he was having such a good time jumping up and down on my head. Maybe that was the message, like, lighten up, get out of just over analyzing everything and start doing. And particularly that message was from spirit that was telling me, start down your path to mediumship. So a couple months later, I was giving a tour in the jail, and one of the guests on the tour, all of a sudden, this young woman, all of a sudden just sat down. She was standing in the same spot that I had been in. So I looked at her and I said, we'll talk about what just happened to you later. And I asked her after the fact, after the tour was over, I said, by any chance, I said, do you overanalyze everything? And her boyfriend was like, oh my gosh, she thinks everything to death. She will not actually take action on things. So I laughed and I said, well, I think you were given a message, was to get out of your own head. So most of us, though, the problem, how do we get out of our own head? We start thinking, okay, I need to take action on something, but what do I take action on, and which direction do I even go in? And we start then overanalyzing what action we should take. And that becomes paralysis by analysis, right? So in the spiritual realm, those thoughts start looking like, well, I don't even know if I have gifts, or if I do, there are experiences, but I don't know where to go, or I don't know how to start developing them, or I tried this one course once and it didn't really connect with me, or we're content to stay in our heads because we're scared to step out into reality with our gifts. So we keep ourselves held back. But that presents a very large problem. It's bigger as the more we go on. We have a whole world or whole knowledge of ourselves inside our head, but our outside world is not reflecting what's inside our head. That we start to really be disconnected from ourselves. When we're not putting our spirituality into daily practical life, we're not bringing it right under the ground running, and we don't even start with that process, that disconnect is going to just get wider and wider and wider. When we are disconnected, when our outside life doesn't look like our inside head, there's space there. That disconnect, anxiety moves in. And anxiety is a horrible roommate. Nobody wants to live with anxiety. But when anxiety comes in, it's exhausting, it's miserable, and then you just get further and further away from who you are. So when you're living a life that requires you to be in a state of disconnect or inauthenticity, and anxiety, if you haven't asked for help at that point, before now, that's certainly the point to ask for help. And asking for help doesn't even mean that you need to know what you need help with. In fact, most of us don't know what we don't know. So when you're at the point where you can just say, I don't know what I don't know, but I need help in some area. Somebody can help you. I can help you. Somebody can help you get back to the core of you. That's what I do with my clients. But being able to say, I don't know what I don't know, makes you really helpable and really teachable. But when we show up and we're like, oh, I'm this thing, or I'm that thing, or I'm this, I've got this talent, I've got this skill, and you're not even admitting what you don't know, you're absolutely not helpable. But when you are helpable, you can learn, you can grow, and then once you're open, the universe starts working for you. The universe starts bringing your outward reality and your inner reality together for you. And as soon as you get on that path, you start getting stronger, and you can start then bringing your spirituality into everyday life, and you could turn around and help other people in your life. And that's when the ripple effect is tremendous and rewarding and wonderful. So I encourage you all, if you feel like your inner world is different from your outer world, to get out of your head, ask for some help when you're ready. Get it from somebody. If it's not for me, somebody else. But for me, if you feel called to work with me, definitely reach out, private message me. I work with people in many different ways. So I look forward to hearing from any and all of you, but mainly getting you out of your head. All right. Have a good day. Bye.